Making money, Diyari, is really important. And in order to make, manage, and multiply money, there are 7 major areas for people to focus in on. Number 1 is saving money. Okay, so where can you cut back? Number 2 is property. Number 3, we've got taxes. Number 4, business. Number 5, wealth structures. Number 6, investing. And number 7 is me, as in you. You are your biggest asset. Yeah. And when you spend time and you invest in training and mentors and mastermind groups, and you actually put these areas high up on your value ladder, and you start to dive into all 7 of these, this is how you start to become really successful. It's what I call the 7-7-7 plan. 7 income streams in less than 7 years, generating you 7 figures a year profit.
But obviously, first you have to make the money. Otherwise, there's nothing to invest, nothing to do. So would you say that there will be more than one way initially to also make money?
Yeah, great. So what we're talking about here to go and make money, you've got money in your job. Yeah. You've got money in your business. You've got money that can be made via asset classes, so investing. So this really comes down to number 6, which is becoming an investor. Become a stock market investor. Become a property investor. Become somebody that understands money. Take money from your job, take money from your business, and then deploy that money into investments that, number 1, will generate income, and number 2 will generate you passive income, and number 2 create capital appreciation. Do the work once, get paid for a lifetime. It's one of the reasons why I absolutely love property investing, because you buy or control the asset, you get some tenants in, the tenant pays the mortgage, and you're left with cash flow. Investing into asset-backed funds in the stock market, really great thing to do. Invest perhaps into the S&P 500, the NASDAQ 100, use stock market strategies which have been tried and tested, get your money working for you. So yes, make money in your business, yes, make money in your job, but then take that and put it into the investing part of the 7 major areas, and also have a business that's profitable. I've certainly spent far too many years in the past having businesses where I may as well just have had a job. It was just far too much hard for not enough return. So if you're going to have a business, turn your passion into profit, do something that you're really good at, do something that's scalable, do something that can be tax efficient, do something that's going to serve humanity, do something that's going to solve problems. But more importantly, do something that you're going to enjoy and is going to appeal to the mass market, because you're going to do it's like you and your business. Everyone wants lovely teeth. They want that Hollywood smile, but even if they don't want the Hollywood smile, people need work on their teeth. So it's very scalable, and you're always in demand.
Yeah, true. So this is what happens. Somebody gets a job, even let's say at any level. It could be a pilot, it could be a doctor, a dentist, a teacher. They all exchange their days for money, and they make the money. And then spending money is very easy. You talked about saving as one strategy. Spending money is very, very easy. We've all been there. We know how. Give me 10 million, I'll find 10 minutes now and spend it all for you. Would you say what are good strategies for saving money without kind of depriving yourself of, because you want to go to the cinema, you want to have a nice meal, even if it's at Nando's, you want to have a good time, but at the same time saving that makes you feel good and proud. Because I notice that when I save money, even the little here or there, I feel proud that I've done something right for me. Yeah. So
it's a really good topic. So what's important is to understand your income versus your outgoings, because then you've got a good understanding of where you're at. And make a list of all of your outgoings. So you can go back through your bank statements for the last 3 or 6 months, set a Sunday afternoon aside to do this, and you will then highlight and list all of your outgoings. And you probably will notice that you are spending money on things that are not necessary. I was with a client of mine just a few months ago, and we realised that he does about £5,000 a year at Starbucks. Now that's fine. Fill your boots at Starbucks on 125 quid a week if that's what you want to do with food. And it was just insane, right? For him and his wife. Him and his wife. You know, like £5,000 a year. But, you know, have that money coming in from assets and then go and spend the £500. If you put that £5,000 a year into the stock market, you could be a multi-millionaire within 10 or 20 years. So no one is saying don't spend money, but understand where your money is being spent. So make the list. Understand your outgoings, your rent, your mortgage, your insurance, your children, activities you want to do, and then you'll have a good understanding of where you're at. Are you losing money every month? Have you got extra money every month? And then what's important, even if you're really successful, hey, still look for the discounts. My wife loves a coupon code. You know, if I can go and get 20% off by doing a search on Google, I'm going to go and get 20% off.
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So you've got to find ways of reducing your outgoings, and the only way you can really do that is if you have accountability and you go, right, oh my goodness, like, well, why don't we maybe stop shopping at Marks and Spencer's and go to Aldi? Or actually, we you know, rather than having 5 takeouts a night, why don't we have 2 takeouts a night, and then we cook for ourselves? So every single person, rich or poor, are wasting money in areas where you can save that money and then deploy it into investing strategies.
A very, 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 very useful tip. I mean, one of my strategies that I learned some years ago was that if I really want to, because I'm an impulse buyer, as you probably know, and I love nice things, I love cars, I love whatever, this, that, the rest of it, and holidays. But sometimes I kind of put some ideas on hold. Even the slightest thing, if I feel like I want to buy it on Amazon quickly, what I do, I make a list and I leave it there for 10 days. And I go back to it to see whether I still need that thing, because we've all done that. You know, at night you're in bed, you look at Amazon, and if you're like, oh, I need this and I need that, you really don't need them. You just want to buy them. And nowadays, obviously, Amazon is in the business of convenience, making things easy for us. But in the spirit of wealth, since we're talking about wealth, you briefly mentioned a word which I think is the magic word out of the whole thing, and that's the compound effect. The compound effect, I think somebody called it the eighth wonder
of the world, Warren Buffett.
Warren Buffett. So could you explain, if somebody is not very familiar with the term compound effect, would you just explain briefly what you mean by that? Yeah,
so compounding is making money on the money that you've already made. And you've got yearly compounding.
Numerical example.
So for example, you invest into the stock market, and let's just say you're making 1.5% per month. Well, rather than taking that 1.5% and then spending it, you reinvest it back into the strategy. And there are strategies which we do, which are yearly compounding. The key is to be involved with monthly compounding strategies. So rather than putting that 1.5% out, you reinvest that back into the strategy, which means on month 2, your pot's bigger. So now your 1.5% is on a larger amount of money. And then month 3, it's on a larger amount. And month 9, it's on a larger amount. And this is how you can take advantage of monthly compounding. So all types of compounding is really good, but I do aim to focus in on monthly compounding strategies. So I'll give you an example. If you invest £4,000 as starting capital, and you invest £500 a month, and you have a 1.5% a month strategy, 18% a year, you start with 4,000, you put £500 a month in, and you do this repeatedly for 10 years. At the end of 10 years, your pot is worth £189,000.
Unbelievable.
£189,000. So if 10 years was a good time to do this, when is the next best time? Of course, it's now.
It's now.
If you take the same £4,500 a month, and you're able to access strategies at 3% a month, in 10 years, your pot is worth £700,000. Yeah. So this is why I believe it's really important to master strategies that don't take up a lot of time, where you can really start to use the eighth wonder of the world, compounding. Because what you may say now is not worth doing is definitely worth doing, as long as you're patient and you allow that to take advantage over the next 2, 5, 10, 15 years.
Absolutely amazing. I'll give you an example of that actually. Many years ago, I downloaded this app. It's called the Compound Effect, and it's scary. I mean, it really makes you lose sleep if you play with it too much, because you always go back to before, and you say, if only I put in 1,000 and every month I put 100, which is not much. Most people can do that over 10 years with a like you said, a 1.5, even 1% a month. You know, you look at it over 10 years, it's a scary number. You think like, oh my gosh, how could I miss this? And then I close the app. You know, I used to close the app and don't do anything. And probably in 10 years' time, come back to the app and say, oh, if I invested before. So I think, like you said, that the time is now. The best time was yesterday, but the next best time is now. So I think, any number, any figure, any amount. I mean, we say, obviously, don't go and borrow money and stuff but we all have stuff around our homes that we don't need anymore. So things that we can sell, you know, things we can get rid of, some other assets that could be, I mean, I used to have stocks in single companies and single shares, and twice actually it just got wiped out. You know, I'm vegetarian, so years ago I saw this company Beyond Meat, and I thought they're going to be great. They even had a contract with McDonald's, and I invested a ton of money with them. But guess what? I think their shares now are down to almost zero. So, as you repeatedly saying, also in your teachings, that, you know, always asset-backed companies with a ton of track record, and they've you know, stood the test of time, or they, you know, S&P 500s and things like that. And it doesn't matter what the amount is, because I think we all have to start somewhere. You start at a level, I start at a different level, somebody else starts here, but a start is a start.
Exactly.
And I think it's getting to that mindset of that wealth building. So what other advice would you give to anyone who is in the beginning of this journey? Like, let's say, for instance, my younger son, he's in his 20s, you know, he's working, but at the same time, he wants to have a good time, he wants to have a good life. So
I definitely feel like these 7 areas which we've touched on today, the 7 areas, they're all as important as each other. And if you can just make a small improvement in each of those 7 areas, then over the next 5 or 10 years, you will become financially independent. And financially independent is not just about having money, it's about having time. Time rich to do what you want, when you want, with who you want.
But that only happens if you have the money.
If you have the money, right? So this is where the 7 areas come into play. So I would say to anyone that is wanting to go on a journey of financial independence, start now, understand money, know your outgoings, know your current income, have a clear vision for your future. Where do you want to be in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? Get really clear on what that life is going to cost you, and then go and seek out the people, and this is what we do at Assets for Life, go and seek out the people and the training programs that can help you get there. So what might take you 20 years, you can do in 1 or 2 years.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
and believe that you can do it. Believe that you can do it.
Yeah, and it's doable. We've seen, I mean, you are an example of that. You know, we're all examples of that, and we've seen other people doing it. So it is doable. It's not like this mystery. You know, some people are born rich and others are poor. I think we all have the potential.
So if you are somebody that really wants to create more wealth for you and your future, then why don't you look at becoming a professional property investor where you can take advantage of the UK's #1 asset class and make passive income and also capital appreciation. So I'd invite you now to click the link in the comments or the bio and go and access my latest book called Property Success. This is where I introduce you to the 7 step-by-step system known as the Property Freedom Formula that I have used personally to do over £31 million worth of property development. So go and do that right now. I really hope you enjoy this asset, and it could be the difference that makes the difference and gets you up and running in the next 90 days.